Well, as you can see, I laid out the blocks for the pattern that I'm going to have around the manhole access and build that up 3 or 4 courses above ground. The problem is that the manhole cover itself is within a couple of inches of the very edge of the top, so I had to extend it so that I could have a place to a ledge to hold the end row there. And so what I had to do is get some bricks and use some really strong adhesive, very thick by the way, and use some redhead concrete anchors and secure it there. I'll leave it to set overnight, and then tomorrow I can begin the first course. And I'll have something to sit on. I want to give you a closer shot of that ledge that I had to extend on the cover of the cistern to accommodate a row of bricks for the manway access here. You can see that it provides me just enough clearance to get that first course on there. And of course you can see the redhead concrete anchors holding it into this place. But I'm really impressed with this Loctite PL Premium. Even though it's $7 a tube, and I bought several tubes just in case, to glue and up these 5 bricks, it took 1 tube, and I used plenty of that stuff, and still had a little bit left over. Of course, it's probably no good given the nature of this stuff, but I'll tell you, I tested it out, and this stuff is tough as nails. It's as much pressure as I'm putting on that blade edge on that very small piece there. It's barely making an indentation, so I'm going to end up having to probably take a grinder and knock this high stuff down before I set the motor bed on the first course. And I believe I'm going to be able to set rebar anchors right here at this crease and at the midpoint and at the other corner as reinforcements for this first course all the way up through 4 levels. Even though it's not recommended to do it at a crease, this stuff is so strong, I believe that it's basically monolithic. And so if very carefully, if I drill that hole in here, sufficient enough for me to put the rebar in here for the center and 1 for each end, I can use the PL adhesive and anchor all of them in there. I'm only going to go in maybe 3/4 of an inch because I'm not looking for penetration. I'm looking for sideways forces to be stopped from the backfilling of the dirt around the manway access. So I'm not looking for a very deep penetration here, just sufficient enough to hold the rebar reinforcements in place. And I think this stuff's going to let me do it. So don't be afraid to try this stuff. At $7 a tube, it's well worth it. Well, I finished the layout for the concrete. All the crosshairs are where I'm going to have the rebar, 4 on each side basically. 1 in each corner and 2 on each side, and that'll penetrate all of the various blocks as I come up the courses. So we'll go ahead now and drill some holes. I'm going to be exceptionally careful on that end row where the bricks are built up to hold up that side, and probably start out with some smaller masonry bits and then work my way up to the proper size for the rebar. Like I said previously, I'm not going to go very deep. I'll set the depth gauge probably at 3/4 of an inch and be satisfied with that once I get those anchored in with some of that Loctite PL Premium. Well, the rebar went in great. Even on the back with the brick ledge I built up, worked out perfectly. I started out with smaller masonry bits and worked my way up to the 3/8 size very carefully and drilled perfect holes, used a straw to blow out the dust, vacuum to clean up all the dust. And I went and put some of the Loctite PL Premium on the bottom of the rods. They went in about 1.25 inches and let those set overnight. Then I came out this morning because they weren't all perfectly straight and used a piece of conduit and placed it in there so when you bend the rebar straight with a level, make sure it's plumb so all the blocks go right over the top of them nicely. You don't want to just bend the rebar. Use a piece of pipe or something, a guide, and bend it at the base so that the rebar stays straight. Otherwise it looks fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and set up this morning to get the first couple of courses of block in, and we'll shoot that. Well, we've got the first course mortared in. Everything worked out good. We'll go ahead and top off the cells with concrete and get ready to set the second course. Well, the third course is up. I'm going to have to fill the cells in and get that last one up and topped off. Well, we finished the last course of block and put a 1/2-inch mortar bed to level off the very top of it. We'll put a plywood cover on it temporarily until we get something a bit more aesthetic and functional for safety purposes, like a diamond deck cover or something that can be hinged and locked. But this will complete the concrete portion of the project for the cistern. Well, one final look at the finished product here. Had to clean up some of the cast edging around the manway, otherwise you get lacerated climbing down into the thing, so I went ahead and cleaned it up with a grinder. And the ledge build out worked perfectly, providing additional room for that side of the blocks. It's all cleaned up and ready to go. 2 penetrations. The one for the in the center is going to be for the pitcher pump. On this end here, the fill and draw lines, vent chemical fill. So she looks good. She's now done sufficiently to call in for backfill, so we're in good shape.